Hi students, welcome to English 2. I was really hoping we would be in person, but here we are, so the college made the decision because of the surge in the virus that we would be online for the first 5 weeks. So I am very hopeful, all fingers crossed, right, that we will be back to meet up in person after 5 weeks. I'm such an in-person person that I just really wanted to be in person, but I'm really grateful to be here in this format as well. So I want to welcome you to English 2, which I'm really excited about. English 2. So I am going to go over the syllabus, and the syllabus is attached, located in your info module, which should be your first module, so you can see what I'm looking at, right? I have critical thinking and writing about literature, otherwise known as literary analysis. And so it has all my info here, the Solano email. I also have an AT&T email. All of those are good. I also have my phone here. I'm really good with a text normally, so that's a really easy, usually fast method to get a hold of me. I mean, I say fast. I mean, obviously, if I'm driving or something, I'm very committed to not using my phone when I drive, or if I'm I do teach in person at Napa Valley College, so I can't really be checking my phone while I'm teaching, things like that. But usually, I'm pretty quick with a text usually. So there's that, and you could actually call me at that number too, and we could talk, or you could leave me a message. I can call you back. Any of that is good. So probably in order of my preference, as far as getting a hold of me, I prefer text. Honestly, I'm pretty good with the text. I can just see it right in front of me easily, and I can get back to you pretty quickly. After that, Canvas message. I'm really pretty good with Canvas message. And then next in line would be the Solano email, and it is good to have another email. I think as far as my AT&T, and just in case the Solano website goes down, or anything could happen, right? So we know that anything could happen after the past couple of years. So we want to be ready. All right. So that said, my office hours while we are online will be Thursdays from 10:30 to 11:30 by phone, meaning so you would just call me on my cell phone and talk to me, and we can talk, and we can look at things on the computer if we need to, or just answer questions by phone. You could also send me a text. I can do office hours by text. I can do that. So sometimes things are easier in person. It just depends what it is. But I mean, not in person. We'll get to that. We'll get there. But I mean on the phone. So whatever. But call me anyway if you would like to at that time. If you want to meet with me, but that time is not convenient. Send me a text. Let me know that you would like to meet with me, and we will on the phone right now, and we will figure out a way to do that at a convenient time. I can usually make it work, so we'll make it work. Once we're in person, then I will update this with giving you an in-person location, like an office. And that would be like super exciting. We'll wear masks, but we'll be there in person, and that will be like super fun for me. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed that can happen. All right, so how your grade is calculated. Essays/papers, they are the same thing. I use the terms interchangeably. 60% of your grade comes from that because it is mainly a writing class, so that is the bulk of the grade. Then homework and classwork comprises 20% of your grade. It really is homework while we're online, but once we're in person, of course, we will be doing things in class and as well, and that would be the same category. Quizzes are 10% of your grade. We will have 4 quizzes in the semester, 1 per paper. So there'll be 2, and we'll do a section on 2 sections on short stories, 1 section on poetry, and 1 section on drama, which is a play. So we'll have 2 quizzes for the short stories because we have 2 papers on the short stories, and then we'll have 1 quiz for the poetry section and 1 quiz for the play section. So 4 quizzes total. Altogether, those are 10% of your total grade. I do not do makeup quizzes, so you do need to take the quiz at the allotted time. The first one will be online, and then after that, you would be in person taking those. We hope, if we're in person, hopefully. All right, there's one presentation that you're responsible for during the semester, which you will be presenting on the same topic as your paper. For that, it'll be due at the same time as the paper, and you can choose which paper you want to present for. There's two on the short stories. Again, there is one on poetry and one on the play, that's the order of them in the semester. So you can either choose, which reading you're more interested in, or you could choose what time period during the semester is better for you. The first one, if you're doing it for the first short story paper, that will be online. So I will give you a prompt when it gets closer to that is you're going to choose the slide format or make a YouTube video. The other presentations are going to be in person as long as we are if we are hopefully in person. So if we're not coming back as soon as we hope, then those would also be online. All right, so I will let you peruse the student learning objectives in the interest of time, so you can read through those. And then I'll go through the format and procedures policy for late work. Basically, okay, so while we're online, you want to make sure you are submitting your assignments in the Canvas submission box. So that means Canvas submission box. Don't email me your assignments. Don't put them in a Canvas message. Don't text me your assignments or something. I do love a text, but not for that. So I don't think anyone's ever done that, to be honest. But it could happen, I guess. So there's all kinds of creative ideas, but I don't want that one because it's confusing me. So at any rate, I just need everybody has to submit their assignments in the same way. It's really, really important for a lot of different reasons. So I need all the assignments while we're online to be in the Canvas submission box. When we're in person, they will be submitted in paper. Woohoo! I love paper, so that will be good. All right, so but at any rate, back to the late work, which hopefully you'll be doing it on time. But so you'll see that when the assignment is due in that Canvas assignment, right? So you will submit it by the deadline, right? And then that's all good and everybody's happy, right? But sometimes things happen, right, that we might need to submit something late. So I give a grace period. I give a week's grace period. I take off 10 points for that grace period. So if you need the grace period, then use it. It's better to submit it late and get it in than, get a 0 on the paper. That would be a shame, right? So use it if you need to, but it's better to submit on time, not get any points off, right? So, but if you do need to do that, do that. It's exactly 1 week after the due date. Exactly 1 week. Time, everything's the same. Exactly 1 week. After that week, I can't take it. So for the first week, I don't need a doctor's note. I don't need to know the reason. It's, everybody's got their own individual situation, right? So I don't need to know the reason. But after that week closes, it's done. The gate is locked and we're throwing out the key because it gets you too far behind and it gets me too far behind and things just start snowballing, and we don't need any snowballing right now, right? So only if we're in Tahoe, which could be very fun, right? But at any rate, you got to get it in by that grace period deadline, or I'm not taking it, honestly. We gotta stop the fun sometime, as the guy I used to work with would say. So when I worked at Sears and we had people lined up out the door. So at any rate, so you want to get it in on time to not lose any points, but you could also take advantage of the grace period, but you do get 10 points off for that, but it has to be in by that grace period deadline. The only paper that does not apply to is the final paper, because we don't have any time. We're at the end of the semester and we're done. So that one cannot be submitted late. I can't take it late. All right, so that's that. You can homework also. You can also use a grace period with the homework, but it has to be in by that grace period deadline. All right, so resources and support. There's all sorts of tutoring available at Solano College, and it's free. So it's available online now. I think they may have some in person available again. I think they do. So ask me about that if you're not sure, and I'll find out for sure. But I know it's online, free, and there's a lot of good resources. Also, disability services, DSP, they have in Building 400 or online. They have, I don't know if they're in person yet, but they have a lot of great resources. So, and if you're not sure what programs or anything that they might have that you might be interested, let me know, and I can try to connect you with them because I think they're really awesome. The staff is great there. All right, so course requirements, next page. So this is about attendance. It's really essential because if you're not like attending and participating, things can really get sort of away from you. So when it's online, what that means is you have to be logging in every week and doing the work. So how this is going to work is I have an assignments due every Friday for the homework. My dog just went, ooh, every week, huh? So yes, Amy the dog, yes, every week. So anyway, so every week, so you want to be logging in and doing that, right? So if you didn't log in for an entire week at all, you could actually be dropped from the class. So for lack of attendance, right? So you want to attend, and because you miss things if you don't. There's someone that said 90% of life is, I think it was like Woody Allen said 90% of life is like showing up, you know, and there is something to that. You absorb a lot and get a lot of information just by, you know, participating, which for right now means logging in. After this, if and when I hope we're in person, it would be attending class. And if you miss more than 3 classes in the semester, that you could be dropped. So you want to avoid all that, right? Of course, let me know if something does occur. Like for some reason, if you're in the hospital or something like that, of course I would take that into consideration. So, but you know, other than extreme emergencies, right? You do want to just keep chugging along with everything and try not to get behind. However, there is a point in the semester that I can't drop you, and that is when the last date to drop with a W is also the last date that I can drop anyone. So if you're doing fine with attendance up to that point, then you're not. After that, I can't do anything about that. So you would just have to continue forward, and whatever the grade is what it is, even if there's missing work or whatever, right? So you want to just kind of keep on top of those things, because that would help you to be successful. All right, so then a required text is yes and no, it's required. So let me explain about the test. So we have a lot of reading to do. Again, we're starting with the short stories, and then we're going into poetry, and then we're doing a play. So so for the short stories, well, for all of them, I do have a text that I use, and I love this text. I'm very attached to it. It's called Literature and Its Writers, editors Charters and Samuel Charters. So it's recently gone out of print. What am I get to do, right? Woe is me. But I have a plan. I have figured out a plan for that. So the book is not available in the bookstore, but it is available online at pretty low rates, like very affordable prices. Any edition works. So I'm not putting page numbers because there's so many different editions out there and there is another way to get it too. But so if you get the book online, you are just going to look in the table of contents for either by story or by author and look up what page to go to, or look in the index in the back by story or author and find out what page to go to that way. There's another option. All the stories and all the works that we're doing are actually available by Googling them at no charge. I have tested them to make sure. So there are a couple that are only available that way that are not in the book anymore, because unless you get one of the older editions. The most recent edition I had, two of the stories weren't, one story, one poem, I think. 2 stories, 1 poem are only available online via Google free. But at any rate, so you can do that with all of the works actually. If there's something that isn't available that way, and I have it in some other format, I would of course let you know. But otherwise, or we would adapt and do something different. But I have checked them out and they're available via Google. So you can just use your great Google skills and just put in that title of the story and author, and it will come up. And you can read it at no charge. I'm not going to post those because I'm going to let you use those Google skills that I know you have, right? All right. So again, but if you like to read like in a print book format, or there are some other advantages of that, then it would be great to have the book, and you can get it from any of these websites. Chegg had it, Amazon I think had it, and there was Thrift Books had it. So those are just some that had the books. And the other benefit of getting the book is that they have some really great scholarly articles that are about the stories, about the poems, and about the plays. inside the book that you can use for your research or your paper, you're going to need sources. And this makes it really easy because you can just literally look in your book. So for a really great source, if it works with what your topic is. So there is a benefit in that way for getting the book, or if you just like to, turn the pages and print and everything. So you get to choose what's right for you. All right, and if you are getting, again, I think I mentioned this, if you are getting the book, any edition is fine. All right, fine. So the papers, there will be two for the short story again, one for the poetry, one for the play. So the first short story paper we'll be doing online. This one is due on February 17th, short story context, so you can read through this for more specifics. I put a mini prompt in the syllabus, and then I will provide a longer prompt before the paper is due, 2 weeks before the paper is due on February 17th. I will also do a writer's workshop via video 2 weeks before the paper is due, and then the other writer's workshops would be in person. The first quiz will be the same day, all right? So the quizzes will be the same dates as the paper, the exact same number of quizzes as papers, and they will be on the same day. The quizzes I will provide a study guide for, and you'll look over the study guide, and they will be for the short stories in that first section. The next one will be on the short stories in that second section. Then it will be the poetry, then the play. All right. So there's that. Paper number 2, short story analysis. And again, I'll let you look through the mini prompt. That one is due March 24th. And then we have a poetry comparison contrast paper. And then we have a final paper, which is drama analysis, about analyzing a play. All right. So then the quizzes, I did mention the quizzes. The quizzes are, there's no makeup quizzes. I don't do makeup quizzes. It's too complicated, I find. So you do have to be there to take the quiz. The first one will be online. What I do for that is I post it online by the Thursday night, the date of the quiz, by 11:59 p.m. and I have it go through Sunday at 11:59 p.m. So sometime during the weekend you need to take the quiz. It is closed book, and it does take 50 minutes, so it is timed. So, and you want to make sure you are not looking at any other websites, because plagiarism, looking up other information and putting on the quiz as if it were your own ideas, is a zero, because that's plagiarism, so you don't want to do that. But the other one should be in person, and you just have to be in person and be in the classroom taking the quiz. All right, the presentation, if you choose to present for the first paper, that will be a slide format or a YouTube video. The other ones will be in person. So you get to choose what you would like to do. If we end up staying online longer, then the other ones would also be in online format. All right, so there are assignments every week that comprise that. Basically, they're reading. English 2 is a lot of reading because it's literature. We get to read. So it's a lot of reading. So what I have done is in almost every case, maybe not every case, I have a video to go with the stories. In some cases, there's been no movie made of the stories, but I've been able to find a biography of the author or an interview with the author or something that I think that's connected to the story and or the author that I hope can help you to have a better understanding of the story. I don't know about you, but I am a very visual learner. I like to see something, right? So I just think it helps. So there is a response due for each story and video. So you do want to keep up with the stories and videos. So I don't think it's too complicated. It's pretty straightforward. You have to read the story, watch the video, and write your response. And every response is a slightly different focus. So you do want to read the assignment to make sure you're writing about the right thing, right? But it's pretty straightforward on that. All right, and basically while you're doing that, though, while you're reading the story, while you're watching the video, while you're writing your response, you want to think about which one would I like to write about for my paper, right? That I'm going to focus more in a more in a longer format, that I'm going to really pay more close attention to the details and have a really focused idea about, and that sort of thing. All right. There will be some extra credit here and there that I do, whether we're online or in person. So, watch for that. It can help you boost a grade that it's kind of like money in the bank. It's savings of points in the bank. So, something goes less well than planned, you've got those points saved in your extra credit bank. But of course, anytime that's extra credit, it's optional, right? So academic integrity. So this is where, again, I mentioned plagiarism. You don't want to do it. It's a very bad idea. It's not only a bad idea, but it's an unethical idea. It's really a bad plan because it's considered to be intellectual theft. If you are, for example, like, oh my gosh, the quiz, I forgot it was today. I forgot to look at that study guide. Oh my gosh, right? And you're like, let me just Google it, so we can Google the stories. I'll just Google story analysis of young Goodman Brown or whatever. No, stay away from that idea. I mean, like, run away from that idea. Don't do it. Because that's going to get you a 0, the internet is very tempting, but you don't want to look at it during your quiz. And it's easy for students to do, of course, and we're all human and tempted, but it's also easy for me to find. It's also easy for me to, I know you're writing, I know you're phrasing, and something will just go, wow, that's really strange. That's just phrased so different, or wow, why do 5 people have the exact same sentence or something strange, right? And it just breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. I want you to sincerely, be doing this, right? And I want you to do well. So that would get you a 0. The other thing it can get you, other than the 0, which wreaks complete havoc with your grade zeros, is that you get to interview with a vice president of Solano College. That sounds exciting if you're up for a job. No, not for plagiarism. Oh, it's very bad. Don't do that to yourself, right? So that person can even decide if you get to stay at Solano College or if you're out, I mean, it's that big of a deal. And it should be. It's theft. It's intellectual theft. It can even be, they can decide that it is an ethics violation on your permanent record. I have absolutely seen that happen. Ethics violation right on your permanent record. And when you go to transfer, you've got this thing staring at you or staring at the people that you would like to think well of you. For example, if you want to join an organization like the FBI, CIA, something like that, they look for ethics violations. If you are transferring to a 4-year university that is a private religious institution, they look for ethics violations. And those are just some, right? So you just want to avoid all this, right? It's awful. Like, it's just a terrible situation, right? So you want to avoid all that, but you want to make sure you are not presenting ideas that you have taken from the internet or taken from another student and presented as your own. Okay, the papers that we will submit will go through Turnitin, which is a plagiarism review. And so I get like a report on it, and it tells me where in the internet's come from. But it's very easy for me to spot. And to be honest with you, I have a master's degree in English. I'm great at research, but I really hate using it for that. I don't really want to be Sherlock Holmes for this, but I really don't like plagiarism. It's unethical, and we can't do it. We need to, the college needs to have our accreditation protected, and we need to stand for that we have degrees that mean something. So we're not doing that, right? All right, so, okay, it's like, oh my gosh, she seems so nice. Now she's so mean, right? All right, so at any rate, I'll move on to something else. All right, so accommodations for students with disabilities, I think I already mentioned that. The DSP program is really great. Let's see, let's move on from that to the reading and assignment schedule. So we're kicking off with the semester. The story that we're kicking off with is called A Rose for Emily by William Faulkner. It's a really classic story of Southern literature. And then also To Build a Fire by Jack London. So here we are in California. There's a lot about Jack London. We have Jack London Square in Oakland. We have the, what is it called? It's in Sonoma County. There's a name for his old house that you can go see, and it burned down, and it's really, and then the state park and everything like that. So there's a lot of history. Sonoma State University has a whole Jack London collection that you can go and see there. And so there's a lot about Jack London in this area because he lived here, right? So we're reading Jack London. but so both of these stories, I do have a video for them. So you're going to read the story, you're going to watch the video. I have a response due, so we're going to do that. I do want to give you a little bit of a heads up on A Rose for Emily. I mentioned this in the assignment, but I think it's a classic story that it's important to look at for a lot of reasons. There's a lot there that I think is worthy of studying. But the author William Faulkner, he certainly does reflect the times and the area of the country in which he lived, and I think there's some serious reasons that he did that. But that there are some terms that he uses that are very offensive, and not he uses personally, the characters use, that are very offensive, and we should be offended because they're offensive. But I, I think it's important to take it within the context of the times of the American South during this time, and it's really very interesting that he contrasts this very seemingly genteel Southern way of life with these very harsh terms. And I think if you look at it, with his doing that it makes the story actually more, there's more depth. Like, what is he really, looking at in a lot of ways with this? But anyway, I just wanted to give you kind of a heads up on that, so that you could sort of be mentally a little bit prepared, just for that. All right. And then we have, again, To Build a Fire by Jack London. All right. So, and then you can read I have the stories listed for each week on the syllabus that we'll be doing, and they'll also be online on Canvas on the assignment schedule. So they're posted on both. And the first paper is February 17th. So, and again, I will have an online writer's workshop before the paper is due. All right, so I just wanted to welcome you to English 2. I so want to see you in person, and so I'm really hoping that we will be in person in 5 weeks. Let's do a countdown, right? So, all right, so stay healthy, and I'm happy to see you online. I'm happy to see you in any format, and welcome. Thank you.